Good morning. I am Steve Weber. Welcome to the American Gumption Morning Show on Friday, May 28th, the Friday before the Memorial Day 3-day weekend. And we're going to have a short abbreviated show. I'm just going to do a monologue, and my monologue is going to be a reflection on Memorial Day memories, Memorial Day weekend, specifically Memorial Day weekend memories. So I'll go through some of those here in just a minute. So welcome to the American Gumption Morning Show. It's the show number 181. And again, today is Friday, May 28th. And so we're going to do an abbreviated show. There won't be a guest. I expect the monologue to be about 15 or 20 minutes max. So we'll get out of here. We'll get out of here early on a Friday before the holiday weekend. All righty. So let's just tell you what's going to happen next week. Monday, I may come and do a little short monologue and talk specifically about Memorial Day and what that means to me as I kind of evolve my thinking, but I haven't quite committed to that yet. So I'll either not do a show or I'll come on and do a abbreviated, monologue only show on Monday. Tuesday, I don't have a guest, although I'm interviewing somebody this afternoon. And so maybe that will, and so we're going to start doing interviews where I go out and I meet somebody and I record an interview. And then we, during the regular show segment, we play that interview. And that works when it's not possible to have a person live with us so whether a live remote, but we'll be a live recording and then the interview. So that we'll thinking maybe that's going to be Tuesday, but I do have guests scheduled for next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that will be June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So Tuesday starts our new month. So the 6th month of the year. So anyway, on Wednesday, Pam Duran is going to join us, and we're going to talk. She was going to join us 2 weeks ago, or it'll be 2 weeks from Wednesday when we see her, and we had to cancel that because my internet kind of went crazy. And well, it didn't go crazy, it just went out. And so but anyway, we're going to talk about synchronicities, but a Deepak Chopra book and coined term, synchrodestiny. And so, that's going to be a fun interview. Shani Alvarez comes back on Thursday, and we're going to talk about the yin and the yang of feminine and masculine, and how the different energies, really complement and work together with each other, and some other connections that she has as she's evolving her thinking. So that's going to be a fun conversation. That's Shani Alvarez next Thursday. And then Gwen Peterson, who is the founder of Spiritual Communities Network. And she joined us about a month ago, and she's going to come back, and we're going to talk specifically about the work she does in helping people, figure out their soul mission and destiny in life. So that's all scheduled for next week. So we got a pretty busy week coming up next week. That'll be fun. All righty. So now let's go ahead and here's the monologue. It's going to be Memorial Day weekends is the title of the monologue. And it's just going to be really essentially memories of that as I was a child. Well, as a child growing up, and then the early years in California, and then the Bubba Gump years, and finally the Montana years. Those will be the areas that I talk a little bit about, and how Memorial Day, what I think about as I reflect back on that. So the very first memories, I think that came to me, at least when I started to prepare my thoughts, is that Memorial Day is the, kind of like the unofficial start to summer. That's what the news media always makes that a big deal and says, oh, it's summertime. Here we go. And Memorial Day weather-wise could be, it could still be a little bit cool, or it could be, it could be like full-blown summer. But technically, summer this year doesn't start until Sunday, June 20th. That happens to also be Father's Day. And that's, 3 weeks from Sunday. So we still have, even though this is the Memorial Day weekend and we call it the start of summer, technically summer starts in a couple more weeks. All right. And where I grew up here on the East Coast and where I've been living for the last year and a half again, is, the one thing that I remember, the news narrative was always like, oh, going down to the shore. That was like a big thing. And, so they would always show the boardwalk and, the Jersey Shore and people getting away for the weekend and traffic and, the bridge reports and, all that. So that was always kind of like and then they'd have pictures from the beach and people having fun, that sort of thing. So from a news media point of view, and of course, when I grew up in the 60s and 70s, it was just really three networks and, a little different story than it is today. But now we weren't shore people. My parents, they took us to the Poconos. We didn't do the shore thing, but that's kind of the narrative. That was always like a big memory I had of Memorial Day weekend, the first weekend down at the shore, the bungalows would open up for these houses would be shuttered most of the time. Nowadays, people live there year round, but a lot of people just still have vacation homes down there. So, and then I'll just mention that, summer, of course, is, basically Memorial Day to Labor Day, June, July, August. And that was the summer season. And, Memorial Day kind of kicked it all off. So now, some specific things that I remember from my childhood were parades. The town that I grew up in, Southampton, they would have a parade. Now it might have been the 4th of July parade in Southampton. In fact, it was Southampton days, and it was always with the 4th of July. So some of these memories are a little fuzzy in terms of whether it was Memorial Day or whether it was 4th of July weekend, but that's okay. We'll just blend them together. So anyway, there was a parade, and as a kid, I remember it was kind of neat because you were able to walk right down the middle of the street. Normally, which was filled with traffic. And so they had the parade there. And I remember as kids, we, one time, we all got dressed up and, pulled in wagons and, families all bringing their kids out there. And, it's kind of a fun thing. So when I got to high school, I was in the marching band, and Memorial Day and 4th of July and probably Labor Day, maybe not quite as much Labor Day, but certainly Memorial Day and 4th of July were always parade weekends. And I do remember that different communities had like a 4th of July parade, and some communities would have a Memorial Day parade. So typically a community, it seemed to me, and this is my memory, they didn't have a parade on both Memorial Day and the 4th of July. And for whatever reason, some communities had it on Memorial Day, but there was always parades on, both of those weekends, and not like the big parades like Macy's parade or the Rose Bowl parade, not those kind of parades, but little tiny community parades where, families got to participate and people brought their old cars out and fire engines rode down the road, that sort of thing. And in small town Americana. All righty. And then from the news media, there was always the, cemetery flags, and of course, talking about what Memorial Day really was, and that was to honor the men and women who served in our armed forces and sacrificed their lives. And so that's really what Memorial Day was all about. So it was, did I have a heavy awareness of that? No, but I do certainly remember images of, like I said, the cemeteries and, that sort of thing. And, always a military connection to it too. So now one other fun thing, and probably a stronger memory than the actual connection to those who served, was at the Weber house, the house I grew up in Southampton, they always had through the 60s and then into the very beginning of the 70s, there was a Memorial Day picnic. So my parents opened up the house, and it was a family affair, and it was only for my mother's side of the family, the McKenna side of the family, not the Weber side. And people would come in droves. My mother was one of 9. And so I ended up having, between both sides of the families, I had 35 first cousins. So I had a lot of first cousins, and more cousins on the McKenna side, and those were the people who showed up on Memorial Day, and we had these picnics, and that was a lot of fun. And as a kid, I remember you helped the parents clean the place up, and you rearranged things, and you made it because it was going to be a party. And I learned how to how to host people by just watching these events that happened. And this was an outdoor party, and most of the time it happened on Sunday, but occasionally the weather wasn't good on Sunday and it would get postponed a day and it would be on Monday, that sort of thing. So, but it was fun having cousins come. And again, this was during mostly in the 60s, and I think it ended by 71 or 72. But there was a good probably 10 to 15 years of those picnics. So they were lots and lots of fun. All righty. So then at age 22, 1981, I go to California. I spent 27 years there. And, I remember the news cycle being very similar and sounding the same. Now, not going to the shore, but just getting away, like the 3-day getaway kind of thing. And so, when living in California in the Bay Area, you might end up taking a trip over to the coast. You didn't call it the shore, you called it the coast. So, or you go up to Tahoe, up into the mountains. And so anyway, there wasn't one particular place that people went when they lived in California. It was really more of just a getaway, 3-day getaway. And, that was kind of the news, or the travel report, people flying too, especially as, there was also parades, and there was those community parades that I remember. Now, I didn't go to any of the parades. I a single man, never married. It seemed kind of silly to go off and stand there and watch the fire incident. I probably did a couple times, but not. It seemed like it was more of a family thing, and kids enjoy that more. And so anyway, going to parades no longer happened, but you would hear about them. And again, you'd hear these different communities that would have like either there was always parades on Memorial Day and and 4th of July, but again, the community never had both parades. It was like, whoever decided way back when, the founders of a community, all right, we're going to have a 4th of July parade, and we're going to have a Memorial Day parade, but it was too much work to, have to. It wasn't necessary. So anyway, that was that. And again, the honoring of the vets, but that was more on a national scale, the news media, that sort of thing. So, I remember I decided that, going, since I was a single guy and I was going to school during my 20s, I remember holiday weekends not being so much of me wanting to go and get away, just because it was kind of a hassle, and there was a lot of traffic. There was always traffic. There was always, a lot of people wherever it was. And so holiday weekends didn't necessarily become something that was attractive to me to go away. So I didn't get into that routine, when I was in California. In fact, I got into the routine of not going away during a 3-day weekend, and used it, to kind of rejuvenate myself in one way or the other. Again, I was attending school for that. And so Memorial Day was like the first 3-day weekend where I didn't have any homework or assignments, that had to be done, because college's classes would have just ended, at the end of May, just been done. So that was, that wasn't, so it was like, maybe, I don't know what I did in terms of specific, but it was always a good chance to do some kind of a home project. Maybe some yard work, or, do something a little extra that way. And, because you had that one extra day, and you felt like, okay, let's tackle some kind of a project. So I did that. And then as I ended up getting into sales, I do remember that the Friday afternoon before a holiday weekend was never, and I'm going to say this, and anybody who's a hardcore sales guy is going to come back and go, oh, that's a great time for prospecting, because you can catch the people at the office. And probably that was true, but I always looked at it as people didn't want to be bothered, that type of thing. And I didn't want to be bothered. And so it was kind of a good opportunity to get out of working early on that Friday before the holiday, and getting away for the weekend, as most people did. Most people did that. So that was so again, I spent weekends just sort of resting and rejuvenating in some kind of a project around, somewhere. So then the Gump years came along. Now that would have started in 1996, and that lasted 15 years. And holiday weekends became a working weekend. I would work normally Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but on a holiday weekend, I'd work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And, it was always, there was always like the normal routine for most of those years was 2 days I would work in San Francisco and 1 day in Monterey. And when it was a holiday weekend, I would work Friday in San Francisco, Saturday and Sunday in Monterey, and then Monday in San Francisco. And so I spent the night in Monterey. And that was fun because I had a lot of friends down in Monterey, and I would, get the chance to kind of hang out and, be with people and work 2 days in a row in Monterey. I loved working in Monterey. I liked working in San Francisco too, but I think I liked working in Monterey a little bit better. It wasn't quite as hectic, and it was a little friendlier atmosphere. So anyway, I holiday weekends, I worked every Memorial Day, for like 15 years, every 4th of July, every Labor Day, Thanksgiving weekend, President's weekend. So yeah, that was always a working thing all those 15 years, and no specific memory of Memorial Day differentiating from any other holiday, but they were always working weekends. And actually that turned out to be fine. I liked that. I enjoyed that. So when I finally ended up in Montana, the first couple of years, I was still kind of commuting back to California and was working on those weekends. There must have been 1 or 2 Bubba Gump grand openings over Memorial Day weekend, although they tried not to schedule a grand opening on a holiday weekend, but a couple times I know it happened just because, the building or the permits weren't available until right then, and they wanted to get it open. And so they would open on a holiday weekend a few times. But that was a bit hectic. They didn't necessarily want to do that and plan that. When I was in Montana and then the Bubba Gump days came to an end, really it just became like a 3-day weekend. Most like it was kind of like most weekends, except that extra day. There wasn't a whole lot of specialness that went on. There were the parades again, but communities were smaller, and I never really participated in any of those parades. Although I did actually participate once. I put my Forrest Gump costume on and walked down the streets of in the little towns in Montana at least twice, and those were on some kind of a holiday weekend, whether it was Memorial Day or 4th of July. I'm not sure. I think one was Labor Day because there was a guy who was running for elected office and he wanted me to come and join him in his campaign. So, but I did start thinking more about, what Memorial Day meant from a historical perspective, and from the men and women, the service people, the people who gave their lives for the country and what that meant. And I'm thinking about that this year because we are obviously in a transition time where our country is very divided, and there's people who want to, change what we've historically have stood for, and there's people who want to keep what we have historically stood for. And so I think probably everybody agrees they like the country, although I don't know that I can even say that with 100% conviction. So at any rate, I may end up coming and doing a little monologue on Monday and talk specifically about, the Memorial Day and what it means and what it has meant, the actual holiday part. This monologue was intended more to be about the actual weekend itself, the 3-day event, and, without that so much. So, all righty. So we have a comment that says that he's a little curious. What is subject for this? I'm confused. Well, hey, I'm just sharing my reflections on what Memorial Day was all about. And, so it's Memorial Day weekend memories from childhood and how it affected me. And, as I, sit here in my 60s looking back on it and really what it means for American gumption going forward. And that's what Monday's monologue, assuming I come on and do the show, would be about. Alrighty, so that's it. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll come back next week and we'll do it. The 3 guests that I have are for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Pam Gerard is going to join us, Synchro Destinies. Shani Alvarez, the yin and the yang of the feminine and the masculine. And then on Friday, Gwen Peterson, the Spiritual Communities Network, and specifically the work that she's doing with her particular brand. So that's it. We're here. Look at that, 20 minutes and we're in and we're out of here. So enjoy the rest of your Friday, and then enjoy your holiday weekend, the 3-day Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial start of summer here in the United States. All right. Have a great day.